starting.
Good evening and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's virtual session. This is the 11th episode of the SDGs Dialogue series that we are conducting in support of Sustainable Development Goals. I am Ritu Ravindran and with me is Payal, and we'll be coordinating today's virtual session on the topic Women in Culture, Past, Present and Future. As we know, the status of women has been a topic of grave discussion for many years in the past. It encompasses various burning issues of girl and women education, maternal health, economic empowerment of females, and the role of women in family, community, politics, and more. On behalf of Changemakers Foundation, it's a great pleasure for all of us to have Ms. Neera Mishra as a speaker today, who is going to talk to us about the topic in detail. But before that, I would like to invite our Professor Prashant Sir, who has given us this opportunity to organize the virtual session. I would like to request Sir to throw some light on SDGs Dialogue and to welcome the guest for today. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the session, please type them into the comment box. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ritu. And I would like to welcome Meera ji for giving her time for this very important topic. And all the viewers, those who are watching us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. This is the eve of International Women's Day, a very, very important occasion. And I think the topic which we have picked up today is also very, very relevant and pertinent in today's scenario, that women in culture, past, present, and future. Because if we see the women, so there are many aspects which are being seen in especially in the Indian culture. So in that, we will try to understand from Neeraji for her extensive experience on working with women on various aspects as an NGO trust, property trust chairperson, and Ficky Flow, and as a business woman. So she has a lot of efforts and she has written many books, many things. So this sustainable development goals we are conducting for the awareness of UN sustainable development goals. As we all know that there are 17 goals, and this is a decade of delivery. We are in 2021, and by 2030 goals must be achieved. And this is the effort of social work students, those who are conducting online and offline activities for the awareness of sustainable development goals. And today, gender equality 5 is one of the important goal, because if we see, so there are 17 and all the goals are interlinked. So this is a small effort. A series of programs are being planned under this program, and lot of students are participating and giving contribution for the awareness and sensitization of these goals. So in this regard, I think this is very important that we must. The previous session, which was we were having today, was about creating trans inclusive society, and now we are talking about this session again, that what is the role of women in culture. So obviously, culture. India has lot of culture, the various cultural aspects we have, the lot of traditions we have great history of where women played very important role in various aspects, and in current scenario also women are working everywhere. So I think this is very important for all of us to understand. So thank you, Neeraji, for giving your time on this for this session. And she's so passionate that there was some technical glitch, but she somehow managed to, and log in through mobile phone. So we are grateful that you have given your time. Over to you. Thank you, Payal.
Okay, so now I will introduce our today's speaker, Ms. Neera Mishra. She is a social entrepreneur, an independent research scholar, and founder chairperson of Draupadi Dream Trust. She is focused on continuous learning for creating a better understanding of Bharat's ancient history, heritage, art, and culture. Her centuries old linkages to the ancient Vedic land of Campilia, which is also the place linked to Mahabharata history, naturally drew her closer to the depths of ancient historical knowledge. For almost 2 decades, she is devoted to highlighting the significance of the Mahabharata's era and related history, art, and culture. To take forward her mission, she created a structured platform and registered the Draupadi Dream Trust in 2003 in New Delhi. She is an honored member of the India International Center and associated with leading eminent organizations like the Archaeological Survey of India, Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts, Indian Council for Historical Research, C.P. Ramaswamy Institute of Ideological Research and Department of Science and Technology. She is also a writer editor and shares her research at various national and international platforms. She has over 7 books to her credit and written many articles and presented papers. We welcome you, ma'am, and thank you for joining us. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Prashant, and the students of MSW Amity. It's a great honor and privilege to connect with you all. And you have chosen a fantastic topic, which is much the need of the hour, especially at a time when the Vice President of America is a woman. And so I would start by saying that I'm happy that even the West is realizing their gender equality finally. Because as I go along, I will tell you that how long they took to realize gender equality. In terms of culture, first of all, let us understand what is culture. Uh, Culture is an expression of our personality. It denotes our identity. When I'm saying our, not only the individual, but also the personality of a nation, of a country. So when we talk of culture, it is an expression through various aspects of not only art, but literature, of tangible and intangible heritage, and the social life that is lived in that country. It reflects, all that reflects the type of lifestyle and the social engineering that is followed by a nation is actually reflective of the culture of that nation. Culture is the soul of any country. It is actually, uh, in today's parlance, it is called the soft power. And country like India, being the most ancient civilization, the only ancient civilization actually that has survived millions and millions of years, because we do not have hardly any traces of the ancient civilizations, which we only little bit know about, Greek or Mesopotamia or the Inca and things like that. But ours is the only living civilization, most ancient. So our cultural expressions have been through our Vedas. That is, culture is expressed through writing, and those writings are also telling us about the life systems that were led in different periods of our time. So the most oldest existing literature of the world is the Rig Veda. So let us start by understanding the women in culture from the Rig Veda. Because our culture, or Sanskriti, in Hindi it is called Sanskriti, this comes from Sanskar. Sanskar is the rules applied to an individual or to a nation. So in our Rig Veda, I'm going to just read out 2 simple verses from the Rig Veda. I'll of course read it in English, not in Hindi, not in Sanskrit, to tell you how ancient is the tradition of gender equality in our culture since the most ancient times. So the Rig Veda says, uh, the wife has to perform, when the wife or the family has to perform Agnihotra or the Sandhya and other rituals, she has to do it with her husband. But if for some reason the husband is not present, the woman should has the right to do it by herself. That means in ancient times, there was no disparity. Of course, the gender equality means both husband and wife should do it together. But even if the husband is not there for some reason, the wife is empowered to do those yajnas. So we have this misperceptions that women were not allowed to do any religious ceremonies and women were not allowed to, do things, be independently doing anything of importance. So the Rig Veda, it says, the Rig Veda Samhita part 1, Shlok 79, and Shukta 79, Shlok 8.72. Then it also, the another Rig Veda has also another thing. The home has verily the foundation in the wife. So the wife is the key to the home. That means how important it is that women are given that status that she's the founder, she's the core personality who manages the home. Where do we learn our culture? Where do we get to know about our own Sanskriti and culture? From the home. It starts from the home. And then we go to school and we go to college and then we are in the society. But what we learn in the foundation is very critical. So the Veda itself says that. Now, there is a lot of talk about the Manusmriti. That is also one of the texts that has been talked about. So they're saying in the Manusmriti says, Manusmriti in chapter 3.56, women are worthy of worship. They are the faith of the household, the lamp of the enlightenment for all the household. They bring solace and the family, and they look after, and they sort of bring wealth to the family. Uh, so they are integral part of the dharmic life. Even heaven is under the control of women. The gods reside in the house where there are women are respected. So there is such an important place given to women in our society in ancient times. This it says the gods reside in places where women are worshipped. So the Atharveda also says, "O bride, may the knowledge of the Veda be in the form of you and behind you and in your center." That means it is indicating that the woman is already the knowledge of Vedas. At another point in the Veda, it says that if you want to empower your daughter, before getting her married, first educate her. Because if she is educated, then she will be an asset to herself and be an equal partner to the husband. There are shlokas which talk about the husband telling the wife that now that you are with me, let us together make our life better. Let us together prosper. So gender equality has been very integral. Secondly, we have to also remember that there are certain ceremonies that are very much linked to showing us how gender parity was there in ancient society. The most important one is the Swamvar ceremony. A girl can choose her husband. How can she choose her husband unless she is educated? And Swamvar is a very, very ancient system Can you hear me?
Yeah, now it is. I mean, in the meantime, it was not. There was some issue, network
Can you
issue.
hear?
I think now you are audible. Yeah.
Now you can, so I can go back on my. So do I go back on my seat, or do I have to go out? Because I thought I have to go out. Can you hear me now?
Now it is okay,
Hello?
perfect. It
Can
is
you hear
perfect.
me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay, okay. So, yeah, so women in the past, when I'm talking of the past, I'm talking of the most ancient past. Women in the past were always having an equal status with men. We have the concept of Nar Narayani. So if you, this Nar Narayani concept means that the man and wife, the male and female, are equal partners in creation and equal partners in the life, in the social life also. You know, women actually in the Vedas and the Vedic knowledge, which are the actually the strings of our cultural knowledge, they lay the foundation for women gender equality. So did you, I was talking about the Swamvar ceremony. Was it audible, or do I have to repeat that? Hello? Hello?
Ma'am, it was audible.
So you can, do I have to repeat the Swamvar part, or is it okay? You could hear me.
No, not required. Not required. It was audible. Yeah.
Okay. So that was one part. That means that the women were empowered enough in ancient times. Now, the most interesting fact, which all of us know, but we see there is always a time when the most obvious becomes not so obvious. And we don't even sort of, as they say, common sense is most uncommon. In the same way, the very obvious things we do not realize. In our culture, the knowledge is worshipped as Saraswati. The wealth is worshipped as Lakshmi, and Shakti, the power, is worshipped as Durga. So we have the concept of giving that they recognize the power of the woman being representative of Shakti. But we do hear a very, very common sentence in today's life, that you call us devis, but you don't even treat us like humans. So here begins the journey of the woman from the past to the present. So what happened in between? What happened that is brought out these little things? Two, three things have happened. First of all, we were completely disconnected with our ancient cultural knowledge. And we were disconnected with the books, we were disconnected with the lifestyle for the reasons that we all know, historical reasons. There were invasions, books were destroyed, gurukuls were destroyed. You know, the girl child was educated even in gurukul and even at home. So all that was destroyed. Yet behind pardas, the women have always continued studying, because we have families in which women have been doing so well through ages. In ancient times, women were priests, women were rulers, and there are women who wrote the Vedas also. So some of the important names that I think all of you are familiar with is a Lopamudra, then Gargi, then there are, of course, the important, this Maitri, and Sati was a very important woman, Anusuya, Sita, Draupadi. These are there are five women who are considered the emblem, the symbol of empowerment. And that is, Tara, Mandodri, Draupadi, Sita, Ahilya. Now imagine those women, and today we say, Sita, this is Sati Savitri, but Sita was a very empowered woman. I mean, she took a decision to do something and she did it. But what happened is that when we were faced with a historical situation, when we could not protect our women were vulnerable. That means people would come and take away our women. Women were, like dragged out. So the women went behind parda. They went indoors, and so there was a gap in the way normal education happened. And for many, many hundreds of years, almost, I would say, almost 1,000 years, it was men who were going out and doing the work, and women were confined inside just to protect them. But it became a system. It became some sort of a system that women will remain inside and men will go outside, because still that insecurity was there for quite some time. And the parda system came up, and then we were witness to some very horrific things like sati, and we were horrific things like johar. Now, if being widow was such a bad thing, go back to Mahabharata, go back to the Dwapar times. Kunti was a widow. She did not commit sati. She brought up her 5 children very well. So even widowhood was not a thing of stigma in ancient times. But it became in medieval times not so much a stigma. The whole sati concept came up because when a wife lost her husband, she became vulnerable to the attackers. So she said, I'd rather die than to be taken away by these people, because there was this thing that if the husband has died, if the king has died or the soldier has died, his wife becomes the property of the invader. So all these things led to some bad practices, and women had to be confined indoors, and we went through a very, very sad time. But as I said, indoors study, we kept on studying. Families which were still following the traditional Sanatan Sanskriti ensured that women are educated. And that is why we see women taking a leading role in the independence movement of India. We have prominent, I mean, even before that, what about Jhansi Ki Rani? She was a queen and she fought the Britishers. And so women have been very, so in the past, the situation has, from the highest position, it went down to the lowest position. But gradually, as the 20th century started, even the government realized from a different perspective that yes, women are also an economic resource, women also are educated, and they can be a part of our economic um, you know contribution to the nation. And not only that, because women and men were always equal in ancient times, why not today? And frankly speaking, in the village areas, in the farming community, you will find that women never went out of work. Women still went out in the fields and did work along with men. So gender parity remained in the back door, but other evil practices came in, and that has made our women vulnerable. But as I said, in the 20th century, things are changing. And we were very fortunate that in 2000, from 2007 to 2009, Prashant was very much associated with us in those things. We tied up with the government NCW, and we did a series of programs called Role of Media in Women Empowerment, because we wanted the media to highlight the wrong things that were happening to women who were trying to be equal to men. Because a woman who wants to go out and work is actually wanting to be equal to men. And she wants to create her own identity. And that's the time we did all over, many places. We went to Chennai, we went to Kanpur, Lahore, Delhi, everywhere. And suddenly you will find that media started highlighting all the wrong things were happening, especially the rapes and especially the dowry, etc. And the government started making rules accordingly. So the situation is gradually improving, and we are realizing that we have to, as women, we have to understand what is our future now. Are we happy with what things are now, or do we want to go back to the ancient times and get that equal status that we had? So the future of women and gender parity, we still have a lot to achieve. We do have a lot to achieve because we want, even in politics, that women should be mainstream. In education there is, in the medical services there is, in the army, see, we have come back to that. Women were so strong in ancient times, they were leading the non-army government, government was supporting them. They are in the army. Navy. These are small, small things that are coming. Future has to be where there should be a question. When we are applying that whether you are a male or a female, your merit should count. So we have to in future work for that future so that we can be there in the future.
I think she has some network issues. So, and this is the problem of this online platform. So, yeah, she's back. She's back. So, so I think the examples which she's sharing definitely are very important to understand that when we talk about history of women, especially when we relate it with culture. So I think there are a lot of examples. आ गई
So
आप?
I'll
Yes.
come back. Now I'll
Please,
come back to yeah.
please continue.
Culture in so when we talk about Indian culture, in terms of culture, if talking in writings, see, culture is expressive in different forms. So culture is expressive in performing arts, in non-performing arts. In performing arts, we have dancers. So we have some very, very well-known dancers like have Malika Sarab, we have recently became the MP, who's like, very well-known dancer of Odissi. We have Shobna Narayan. And in terms of art and culture, these women have made a mark for themselves in the field of dance. In the field of writings, we have Mrs. Ray, Pratibha Ray, who has won a Sahitya Academy Award. We have Mahadevi Verma. We have, in recent times also, as I said, that there are women who are involved in cultural activities. And one very important lady who sort of did a fantastic work for culture, who actually was the creator of this India Festival abroad and also the Delhi Heart here, Pupul Jaikarji. So these are women who are landmark people who have done landmark work in the field of promoting culture. So I think, as I said, culture is representative in different ways. And mostly what we actually know, and we have film stars, we have filmmakers, we have who have done well in culture. We have film, art actors who have done theater. We have done. So women are there in every field of culture. They make films, they make theater, they act, they sing. Singing, see, culture is representative through songs, through dance, through drama, through painting. So we have prominent, Aparna is my neighbor here. She is a very good, well-known international painter. So in culture, that kind of culture, one is a culture of respect for women, culture for lifestyle. And how does our culture treat women? Then the other is how women are involved in culture. And in this, women are involved in every field of culture. And as I said, in future is that see, politics of country is also what is the political culture of country? Culture, it is just not as in forms of things. Culture is identity. What does the society represent? So does society represent equality in all aspects? Is there equality in every field of life? The nation equality is if respected every equal, then only you are that country is being can say yes, we are a country which is culturally awakened, which is culturally matured. So misunderstand I'm talking of politics because the simple reason is I'm talking of culture in a broader sense. What is the culture of a political culture, culture in what is the education? Culture represents all aspects. In I think a long way to go because today we find that we have to faster to be able to be in line with the men. And whenever at home, if there is even women, they always prefer male today. But gradually, as we are realizing that women are doing as well, and as
think she's joining back. I think some network
so
connection.
if we want to do something which is like we have to meet our goal, we have to meet some vision of ours. We do have to work extra hard, and that is the future. The future, I think, with this Indian American woman being a part of NASA's research programs, I think we have been able to get our country's cultural image very. Women of India has been instrumental in building the cultural image of India, the soft power of India. So it's a bright future, and I'm sure that this bright future is going to be very encouraging. And I think some question was sent to me today. There are the question, how is related to the O? As
She
I
will
just
ask.
culture represents your mindset. Culture represents your intellect. Okay, okay.
Yeah, Payal.
Ma'am, are cultural roles related to gender?
Can you speak little louder, Payal?
I was saying, are cultural roles related to gender?
Ma'am, she's talking about cultural roles actually. Are they related to the gender only?
Yes. See, culture by definition
Ma'am,
means
I think you
how
switch off the
emotion
camera.
intellectually. Huh.
Switch off your camera. I think your network is poor, so your voice will be clear. Please switch off
Just a
your
minute.
camera.
Just a minute.
Hmm.
Where is it?
Just switch. There is a button called Stop Cam.
Is it clear now? Is it okay? Yeah, now you
Yeah,
can hear me.
yeah. Now it is okay. Yeah.
See, so relation was gender culture. Culture is how you treat somebody.
Ma'am, आपकी
Maturity,
voice is not clear.
two
Ma'am,
two different life.
ma'am, your voice is not clear actually. थोड़ा सा it's disturbance. If you can just walk out or something.
Going to break. I'm
Your
I think out and you can hear me.
sound is you
Okay,
can sound.
I'll just take this out. One sec. I'll go to a I will go to a position where you can hear me.
Yeah.
One sec. Can you hear me now?
Now it is okay. Yeah,
Hello.
please. Please
Can you
continue.
hear me? Yeah.
Yes, please.
I have come out of my house. Huh. So the question is how is gender related to culture? Am I right?
Correct. Correct.
Hello. Huh.
Yes, ma'am. This is the
Now,
question.
first, yeah. So first, you have to understand what is culture. Culture is your emotional and intellectual response to various aspects in society. Your culture is reflected in that. Culture is your personality. It is your identity. So, does your culture teach you to respect women as equals? It is your culture, it is your Sanskriti. That only will decide whether you are able to respect women or not and treat them as equal. So that is why I started with Rig Ved, that the culture of Rig Ved teaches us that we are equals. And today in society, there have been problems with women because for many historical reasons. So does individual's culture, suppose you have 50 students in your class, do the male students in your class, are they culturally mature to treat the woman as equal. It is your cultural upbringing that will decide whether you believe in gender equality or not. So that is culture is the core that is decides whether we believe in gender equality or not.
Correct. Correct.
Ha. So unless you have developed culturally, unless you have matured as a person who's culturally advanced, who's this who has been able to learn how to live in society in a civil way with equality with everybody. So
Yeah. I think
unless you
next
have
question.
that, and
Payal,
what is the
next.
next question?
Ma'am,
Payal,
what
quickly.
influences um, what influences gender roles in today's society?
What is the
What
Speak loudly,
influences
hello?
Payal.
what influences gender roles in today's society?
What influences gender roles in today's society?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So, the most important thing that influences gender roles in today's society is basically lack of proper education uh, from the family to the male members. If the male child and the male members are not given the proper education of respect to the female gender, obviously it percolates in society. Another important thing that is happening is that because the males, we have been doing a lot of work towards towards teaching the woman, the girl child, educating the girl child, but we have not simultaneously oriented the male child to treat the girl child as equal. So when the girl child, when the females come as competitors to the males in jobs, in every field of life, the males are not able to adjust to it because they have not been oriented. So that is the challenge. That is the important challenge because of the cultural lacuna, the cultural, we should say, vacuum in their mind, and which has not been, because they have not been oriented. So that is the influence that is affecting. But women are getting influenced positively because women are getting educated and they are able to adjust to men. They are able to treat men as equals. So for the woman, the challenge is to be able to orient the men in her life by her behavior, by her cultural this thing. But the challenges are very great because if the men have not been oriented, it's very tough. You see, I'll tell you one very specific example since you are from the IMSW. We were doing a research in a place called Sita Madi, which is in Uttar Pradesh near Allahabad, where there is a place where Sita is supposed to have, gone down underground after what happened in the Ramayana. And one of my friends, a very big businessman, the Punj Lloyd Company, they sort of opened a school and they said we will teach all girls free, but we will take 400 rupees from all the boys. Can you believe it? What happened in that village after 10 years? All the girls were educated, but hardly 10% of the village boys were educated. So the villagers were having a big problem saying that how do we get a match for our girl because she is educated, the boys are not educated because the poor people could not pay the fees of 400 to educate the boy child. So why we have to think very, very carefully that how do we keep the balance of gender equality in our policies, in our education system, and then only we will be able to achieve gender equality because you cannot subdue one to bring up the other. We should not neglect the male child in order to bring up the female child. That is a big challenge which is influencing gender equality in today's life.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, my last question is what is the main role of culture in the society?
The main role of culture in society is to to create to sort of bring a mindset, to structure, to orient the mindsets of people, the emotional and intellectual caliber of all people to treat the other as equals. As I told you right in the beginning, that there is the concept of Nar and Narayani means that they are both equals. So it's not a religious concept, it's a scientific and it's a socially relevant context. So today's the culture of any family, the culture of any nation has to build that bridges between the gender gaps, not only build the bridges in terms of providing opportunities, but the most important building of bridges is the mental and emotional orientation of the of all genders to be able to respect each other as equals. And that is the role of culture. No, nothing else can do it except culture. And culture, as I said, if you translate it into Hindi, it's a more accurate word, Sanskriti. Sanskriti and Vikriti, we have an opposite also. So culture is not only going and dancing or appreciating dancing or singing or painting or that. That is the offshoots of cultural expression. But the real culture is your personality. The real culture reflects in the way you speak, in the way you treat others, in the way you live in society, in the way you work out your relationships with everybody. And that is the main role of culture. Even in your family, you will see that if everybody is treating everybody with respect, there is a lot of wellness happening in the family. But if everybody is fighting with everybody, so it is not only limited to the male and female, it is related to every aspect. Culture is the soul, culture is the DNA of a person. And if your DNA is faulty, how will your DNA be rectified? Your DNA of mental and intellectual and emotional sort of orientation of treating every living human being as equal. That is the role of culture.
Thank you, ma'am, for answering the questions. So, on behalf of Changemakers Foundation, I would like to thank our speaker, Ms. Neera Mishra, for enlightening us with her knowledge. Today's webinar was really informative. It gave deep insights into the topic, culture, and I'm pretty sure that the precious knowledge that Ms. Neera Mishra gave us will definitely help us. Once again, I would like to thank you, ma'am, for taking out the time from your busy schedule and enlightening us with today's session. Thank you so much. We are really
Thank you.
grateful to Prashant sir for providing this opportunity of conducting SDGs Dialogue under Social Responsibility and Community Engagement course. And under his guidance, we were able to successfully conduct the virtual session. Also, thank you all the participants present here. Thanks for joining us. And please do stay tuned because many new sessions are coming up soon. Follow us on our social media, that is Changemakers Foundation, for staying updated about all the upcoming sessions. And with this, I would like to end the session here. Thank you and happy International Women's Day.
Thank you very much. I have to come outside in the garden to speak to you because of the network.
Many
I'm
thank
standing outside.
you.